What is going on YouTube? This is Acid Roots. So I'm going to review the debut album by Freekey Zekey of Dipset. Basically, this project is called Book of Ezekiel, and it came out in the summer of 2007. So the name of this particular project here is the reason why Freekey Zekey did not drop an album earlier in the 2000s, because he had a relatively he had a lengthy prison sentence between like 2004 and 2006 as far as this fair is going to happen. Basically, Dipset dropped some albums in 2003 and 2004, and then the rollout for some of the other folks started to happen. Juelz and Jim Jones both dropped albums in 2003, 2004, but basically, of the four main members of Dipset, Freekey Zekey was the one that took the lengthiest amount of time to get some stuff going. Now, there was also, as Dipset started to separate and get like solo careers and pitches like that, Juelz Santana found a group called Skull Gang as far as this pitch can happen. Jim Jones found Bird Gang and was trying to establish people like Max B and Max B and Stack Bundle, some of those particular type folks. So every folk was getting like their particular era as far as this pitch can happen. Now basically Cameron started to disassociate with Dipset in a lot of ways. He started to associate with Votto in like the late 2000s, early 2010s, so that's what he was up to. I'm going to get to some more of those projects as far as those fairs can happen. I reviewed a couple of those as far as those fairs going to went, but basically Freekey Zekey's kind of like the quieter member of Dipset. He's pretty much like, I would say, like the Tony Ayo of Dipset, not to say like in terms of like a derogatory type way. This album's going to get a pretty rave type score, but it's just the pitch. He's the quieter type one. Didn't really do too much in terms of music. He does have other mixtapes I'm going to get to, so there's some particular ones I'm interested in as far as those fairs going to happen, but this really only put out this one album as far as those fairs going to happen, just like Tony Ayo only put out his 2005. So it's just within the pitch as far as saying, basically the whole Dipset crew damn near is on here. There's some extra folks that are also part of Dipset, like Hellrail and J.R. Ryder, some of those type folks. It's just within the pitch. Cameron's on here at least once. He was very quiet in 2007. He almost got into a beef with 50 Cent back in early 2007. Then he disappeared, which I think was to take care of his mother back in those particular times as far as those fairs going to happen. So that particular pitch happened. But he did executive produce this particular album, which is some excellent type fare. And Juelz Santana's on here a few times. Jim Jones is on here at least once. So it's just within the pitch as far as saying red hot type album. Definitely like the appeal behind it. Very underappreciated, just within the appeal as far as saying this is pretty boisterous, just with the aspect behind it. This competes with like some of the best kind of Jim Jones and Juelz Santana type projects, and even Cameron as far as those fairs going to happen, just with an excellent type of appeal. This is not a slouch of an album. I think just between like the impact of it, it may seem like this is some sort of project that just because it might be seemed like Cameron just might be a better lyricist, or Jim Jones might have more swag, and Juelz Santana might have more sheer lyricism within some of those type pitches. Just kind of the concept that maybe he's the one that gets the most bastardized type of reception, but it's really not. I wouldn't pay attention. I would not pay attention, because this is a pretty excellent type album. There's at least 3 singles on here, and a lot of these have some pretty glitzed out type appeals just within the pitch as far as saying it's not really, this particular album is not necessarily tied to just like New York type flavor. It has some other type moments on here just within the pitch behind it. It has a good concept of like, on top of that, like some good mixtape soul. This further assets of like talking about that DJ Drama and Don Cannon type vibes that you would have gotten out of 2004, 2005. So it picks up for some of those type moments left off. So it's just a continuation of that. Has plenty of good moments, pretty good balance on here. It's overall pretty impactful. So look after here, there were 3 singles like I was saying, and basically out of like 15 songs on here, out of 15 songs in here, I wound up recommending 12 and a half. So the almost song is the intro, but within pitches like that, basically the only 2 songs I don't recommend in any fashion out of the 15 on here would just be Shoot 'Em Up, and then 2 songs I don't recommend. The 2 songs I don't recommend on here would just be Shoot 'Em Up and then Fly Fitted. So talk about those real quick. Basically, Shoot 'Em Up's just kind of a plotting type one. This probably has the worst production on this particular album as far as those fairs gonna happen. Was just trying to be more of like a rugged type one that just didn't pull out the vibe as far as those pitch kind of went. I mean, for the most part, there are some moments on here that pull off that vibe better, like 730, Dip, and Kill 'Em, some of those particular type vibes. But in terms of like a particular kind of grime, just going for like some of the Mobb Deep type moments that just didn't nail the appeal behind that. And like Fly Fitted was just kind of a royal type one, just kind of within the pitch, trying to pull out the vibe of a little bit more just kind of composed and just more it's kind of more elegant and royal type veneer, similar to 730 Dip, just without the Dipset kind of bravado about it. Just didn't nail the vibe as well as 730 Dip did as far as this pitch can have. But it is kind of a veneer type one within the pitch, but it's just not as good with that. But yeah, I'd say I'm going to give this album me basically recommending 12 and a half out of 15, because I did halfway like the intro, which I'll get to after the single as far as this pitch can happen. I'd say the intro did help bolster things being an almost song. Originally, I was going to give this album 12 out of 14, like a 9.25 out of 10. It's going to get a 9.5 out of 10. Now, if it had actually been 13 out of 15, it probably, well, it's kind of tricky to particularly score something 12.5 out of 15 because I look after it. I feel like 12 out of 14 would be like a 9.25 out of 10 within the pitch behind it, but 13 out of 15 would probably be about the same thing. Probably would be like a 9.5 out of 10, because I would give a 14 out of 15 a 10 out of 10. So it's just within the pitch. It's just kind of within the aspect as far as saying, despite the fact that the intro is an almost song, it's just kind of within the pitch that there's not really too much like a score. You could say like a 9.35 or something, but that doesn't really make that much sense within the tone behind it. So it's just kind of within the appeal. It just would go to a 9 point, and this would go to 9.5 out of 10. So it's just within the appeal. Just being able to say within some of those aspects, that's the tone behind it. But basically, the lead single, Hater What You Looking At's a real excellent one. Basically, the lead single, Hater What You Looking At's a real excellent one. It's like a nice popping kind of ringtone snapper to kind of get here. Just strong club glitz about this one. Real excellent dance hop. It's probably the most attention grabbing song on here, I'd have to say, within the impact. Not to say like there's plenty of other good songs on here. There's some like the Cameron song Daddy Back's pretty good. Some of these type ones, but this is probably the most immediate type one in terms of like the typical contemporariness, just about this real casual type hop to kind of get to here. It's because for the most part, because Freekey Zekey was in prison when Dipset was coming up between Joel Santana and Jim Jones and even Cameron's just within the pitch, so there weren't typical in many songs that he was on back in the 2003 to 2006 era as far as those first going to happen. It's just a good aspect to kind of get him on some of these. Real nice poppin' type club song to be able to have for some of that impact. Just a 1-2 step type one that just has like a lot of good glitz. Real secret Dipset type song with the pitch behind it. Real awesome type one. Like This is a quality second single. It's another nice one here. It's like a vintage kind of soulful mixtape contemplate to kind of get here. Just a ladies kind of summer pastime within the pitch behind it. Just DJ drama like within the aspects. So just basically getting something that you would have gotten on like a mixtape cut from like a DJ drama album, just in a more type format of just like a radio single as far as this pitch can happen. Just bringing some of that mixtape flavor to like the forefront. Just kind of a concept of a typical type fare. It's that same sort of chipmunk solo within the aspect of it. Just those house cleaning type musics within the pitch behind it is something that, you know, Jeezy and Joel would kind of do, and Lil Wayne, some of those type folks. This feels like a song like off of Dedication or Trap or Die. Some of those particular type moments. Can't Ban the Snowman, just in a more radio single type format. So it's good type of appeal to be able to get that. Living It Up is the third single. It's another nice one. This is like a summer evening kind of pristineness to kind of get here. This has a real glaze type beat. Really like this. Is probably one of the better beats on this album, just in terms of the contemporariness and just casual appeal about it. Definitely some luxury activity, I'd have to say here. Just typical socials I'd have to say about this one. Good, nice one to kind of have for like luncheons and this overall type fare, just in a more kind of contemporary type aspect, just a little bit more, it would seem just a little bit more enriched within the sense, but still good concepts here, just some sunset gates within the aspect here. So this one, a little bit more debonairness to this particular one compared to Like This. This was a little bit more on the grind, kind of hustler's grit about Like This, but this particular one just has a little bit more. Living It Up is just some Pink Skies kind of enriched kind of luxury activity just in the pitch behind it. Definitely a good concept for like this more smoky kind of rouse, just this more smoky kind of romantic rouse within the pitch behind it, but just kind of the concept of this kind of some definite good smoky kind of summer kickback within the aspect of it. Just great Pink Skies typeness within the aspect there. So good type tone. There's another one like that's pretty good within that same sort of aspect, which would be Daddy Back's the same sort of pitch within the tone behind it. But this, yeah, these particular songs here, as far as this first gonna happen, the only two songs I don't recommend, I talk about those. This album gets a 9.5 out of 10. This album gets a 9.5 out of 10. So the intro, talk about that one. This is an almost song. This gives good vibes of like You Don't Know and Take Over from the Blueprint by Jay-Z. Very similar to those particular type ones. This feels like a Just Blaze beat. The intro feels like a Just Blaze beat ripped out of the early 2000s. This is just like vintage kind of mixtape flavor within the pitch behind it. I mean, it's an almost song because it didn't nail it quite as full bound as heavily as like that particular pitch, but still a good enough song to be able to say within the concept of it that has enough appeal to be able to say it's good, but just within the aspect of it, it's just kind of the appeal. I don't think this was actually by Just Blaze, but it's just within the pitch as far as saying that it's a good rendition of that particular type format that has similarities to it within good fashion, so it's a good type tone. But yeah, so probably one of the best songs off this album would be Where the Dutch. And it's definite album standout here to kind of get just a hella hot chorus. Definitely one of the best choruses on this album, along with Hater What You Looking At, some of those type ones, and Living It Up. Definitely has some pretty good casual type appeal for the appeal behind it. And the thing about this particular album is it does have some good standouts on here, despite the fact that this is, I don't know if this album even got close to gold or something like that. Probably sold like 50,000 copies, something that relative type pitch. I think people knew who Freekey Zekey was just kind of the concept between him being like the quieter fourth member and then also having like a 3-year prison sentence. It's just kind of within the concept, but he just didn't get as much like contemporariness about him. But it is a good aspect here. I think folks were still probably just gushing over Jim Jones and pitches like that. So it's just kind of the concept that he kind of got the girth of that popularity around 2006, 2007. But Freekey Zekey definitely has an excellent song here in Where the Dutch. Just smoked several to this particular song. I would definitely feel like definitely some bells mingle within the pitch. Goes great with some of these type of songs on here. Just plenty of good summer evening pink skies type of to be able to get within some of these aspects. Just kind of some entries as far as those first gonna have. So just kind of the conduct of the songs like Where the Dutch are just kind of the initial conduct of the initial kind of songs like Where the Dutch are just kind of the initial conduct of like entry type moments, just the initial kind of dab in some of those type pitches as far as like the kind of mingle this within it. So he's getting to some of that particular type fare as far as those kind of house party lobby type music within the pitch behind it. So it's good type fare. Yeah, if you really appreciate like the bravado of Dipset, I would say 730 Dip's a real nice one. It's just like a typical banner type one for that particular movement. It's like a typical kind of red hot Dipset. 730 Dip's like a typical kind of red hot Dipset bravado to kind of get here. Just ripped out of 2003. I would feel like this militant kind of airtight game about this one. So it's just within the pitch, just factory type Dipset within the pitch behind it. It's good type concepts for the most part. Joel Santana would kind of do these in like his early days. Cameron definitely did these, but it's just kind of the concept. This feels a real late shift kind of one as far as those pairs can happen. I mean, you get songs like this, like The Weatherman, and like Pin the Tail in terms of some of those type ones from Jim Jones, some of those type fairs, but just when the pitch that these particular songs were kind of that typical kind of bravado. This is the better variation of Fly Fitted, I would definitely feel like here. This sort of royal type bravado just has a lot of good aspects. Just that typical kind of triumphant type appeal. Just the bravado behind it's real high. Just real nails it. Crunked Up is a quality one. This song probably should have been lengthier, but I do like the pitch behind a nice appetizer. It's like a gnarled kind of get tore up appetizer kind of get here. Basic riler for like some venues step out. I'd have to say just ready some goodies as far as this pitch can happen. Just get the smokage ready. Some of those type particular fairs. Go pick up a few boxes of beers and kegs. Some of those type pitch just from the aspect. Get some Jack Daniels just from the pitch. It's a good type tone to be able to have for some of that. Goes pretty well with Hater what you're looking at. Some of those type moments. There definitely are some tore up type moments within here, but it's not as full bound. Like this is not as much of like a gnarled kind of craziness within the pitch, but it does have the moments on here to have like some pretty productive type social aspects as far as this pitch can have. It's just kind of the concept. It's just more kind of quick times, more so than the aspect of full bound getting tore, but it's just within the pitch that it does have some moments for it, which I do appreciate. Definitely good tone. Kill 'em with Joel Santana is one of those type moments that goes probably as like a good 1, 2, 3 punch with Hater what you're looking at and Crunked Up, I'd have to say. Kilm's like a woozy kind of night venue blister kind of get here, just typical kind of dope white noise kind of get for some of that ambience of just being out in venues, pitches like that. Just goes pretty well with like the Hater what you're looking at bops versus pitch kind of have. So a great 1-2 punch, just excellent type of appeal. Glad that Joel Santana's on here a few times just with the pitch behind it. It's just kind of within the fair. 2007 was another quiet year for Joel Santana. He was supposed to drop the album Born to Lose, Built to Win within those pitches, but it just never came out. But just with the pitch that you do get some of these type verses, a good aspect, a real nice woozy type one, good song to kind of have a head trip to. Daddy Back with Joel Santana and Cameron Terrell, immediate type one as well. It's like a lazy dope kind of Dipset summer pastime, and I had to say here, it just reminds me of like '05 Jim Jones from like his Harlem Diary of his Summer Days. Definitely just a good song for some beach chairs for us this pitch gonna happen. So this typical kind of refined glaze as far as those pitches can happen. This excellent type of appeal. Great 1-2 punch with Living It Up. I'd have to say this real excellent type of appeal. Cameron and Joel Santana fit this song extremely well. This kind of lazy kind of beach chair type music for summer. This refinement pitches like that. Just kind of exquisite within the taste of just like the aspect of maybe just more poolside within the pitch, but just kind of the concept, but just also probably some exquisite kind of lobster living pitches like that as far as those first gonna go. Steph is a quality one as well. It's like a vintage kind of mid-2000s DJ drama mixtape push kind of get here. Just typical kind of makeshift and house clean kind of drifts as far as going to happen. So just within the pitch, there's a series of these on here like between Steph, My Life, and Streets. Some of these type pitches are just that typical kind of mixtape soul that I was talking about from like ripped out of DJ drama and Don Cannon type mixtapes. This is just particularly one, a little bit more ladies bound within the pitch. Very similar to like the vibes of like this. Just not a single oriented, just within the format. Just more around the house neighborhood type fare within the pitch behind it. Not quite as out and about. More pastime and not quite as summer oriented, but just with the pitch behind it. Streets is a quality one. It's like some good chipmunk soul. I had to say, just like Killa, Cam and Joel Santana. I had to say within those pitches, this vintage kind of mid 2000s mixtape strolls as far as this pitch kind of goes. So just the concept is out and about, snack run basic fare for that, getting checks mixed, some of those type pitches, just getting like lighter, some of those type pitches, just typical outs from the fair. Not necessarily as full bound big city type pitch, but just with an aspect just like that format of just going for like strolls and just getting errands done within localized type sense, just within the concept of this like the aspect of just listening to shit ripped out at like 2005, 2006, just within a more mixtape type format of like DJ drama. So it's a good type pitch for that, just being on an album. I do like the format of like Freekey Zekey, particularly doing that, because it's not always every single cat has some of these mixtape type moments. Some of these type folks would save these mixtape kind of DJ drama moments. Some of these type folks would save these DJ drama mixtape moments more for the mixtapes, more so than being on albums. But it's just kind of the pitch that you get both on this particular album. So it's good type fair. And My Life is a quality one as well. As like stock mixtape soul kind of get here, just typical kind of makeshift get along, and I'd say just on the grind kind of city routine hop. So this one, kind of the vehicle type version of Streets that I'd say. If Streets is just more saunter, just kind of on foot type errands, bitches like that. My Life is just kind of more cruise around, just a more makeshift type sense. Just the typical kind of pastime and a just like after. Just the after hours of just like length, just relative work day within the pitch, just kind of work a day, every day type format, but just good type fare for that in city type sense. This city routine, good type appeal within those aspects, just kind of the connotation. What this is the vibes it was giving me within the pitch behind it. It's good type tone, and then Bottom Bitch is a quality one. So it's like a summer evening fried kind of frolic to kind of get here, just typical kind of hot out mixtape pizzazz. It had to say about this one, just a soulful smash as far as this pitch kind of go. Bottom Bitch just has like a good summer jive about it. It's kind of more peppy type one of like a song by Bottom Bitch is just kind of a peppy type song, very similar to Oh Yes by Joel Santana, and some of those type ones by Jeezy, like forget one of those ones like Oh Yes by Joel Santana and Go Crazy by Jeezy. Some of those type moments, just a summer hop. Also pretty similar to Living It Up. Not quite as glazed as that particular one. Living It Up off this particular album, but just very summer evening fried, similar to that song, but just a little bit more pep towards it. Just kind of it's kind of a good jive aspect of being able to go out and about just within the pitch. It just more summer activity, just in a more mixtape soul type sense. It is very similar to like the DJ drama type sound, just within the pitch, a little bit more summer hop and bop towards it. Good type fare for some of those type moments, I have to say. So yeah, it's the product of this album. So this album gets a 9.5 out of 10 just in the pitch behind it. The social score I'll probably give like a 9.25 2 out of 10, because it does have these moments on here. It's just kind of the concept. I just question as much full bound as the chances that Freekey Zekey's going to full bound be given. This is kind of within the pitch. I feel like nowadays Jim Jones is not necessarily washed up, but just within the pitch as far as saying that he doesn't get as much affluence as he did back in 2006, 2007, as much as he did back in 2006, 2008, 2010. But I look after it, a further member down the pipeline and down the grapevine, like a further Dipset member down the pipeline, down the grapevine, like Freekey Zekey, just doesn't get as much full bound appeal, I'd say, within a casual sense, which is mild. It's not as full bound unfortunate, because this album is good, and I would recommend just to fuck with it and kind of not pay attention to like the relative kind of mild reception about it. But it's just within the pitch, it just feels more quieter. Just feels quieter, and just within a sense, it's just not as commonly talked about or really known about within the pitch. It just feels like most folks probably wouldn't even recognize this album, just really not knowing that much about Freekey Zekey, because he really doesn't make that much noise, especially past like the early 2010s. That I'd say this is just within the pitch. I definitely recommend looking into this. Gonna give this project like some headway as far as this bitch can happen, because it is definitely worth it. So 9.25 social does have 3 music videos out this project, and good guests on here, just in the Dipset type fold. Joel Santana's on here a couple times. Cameron and Jim Jones are on here at least once, and those type pairs. Some excellent productions, pitches like that. Good DJ drama vibes and good contemporary bounce and get tore up type songs. So in terms of the future, like I was saying, full bound, I don't know. Freekey Zekey dropped in too many projects past like the earlier mid 2010s, but it's just been pitched as far as saying that this is like a virtual classic, competes with like some of Jim Jones's best, competes with like some good Jim Jones type albums like Hustlers, POME, and Joel Santana's What the Game's Been Missing, some of those type pitches. So it's just good type format. I really do feel like Freekey Zekey probably should have dropped a few more albums, but this is definitely excellent burst with some good type stuff here within the aspect of it. Definitely virtual classic and easy to recommend.